Okay, so pawning has become a very popular financial product in Sri Lanka. Okay, why do you think gold pawning is so popular? Yeah, any financial product to become so popular, it must be preferred by both the customer and the bank. So it seems both parties like this product. So there must be benefits for each party than other products. So banks and as well as customers prefer pawning over many other financial products available in Sri Lanka. Right. Now, why do customers prefer pawning? Tell me some reasons. Yeah, why do customers prefer pawning? Yeah. Now, think about any other asset. When you accept any other asset as a security, who is holding the asset? Okay, right. So one benefit is quick cash. Okay, but now when you are securitizing, when you are accepting any other asset as a security, who holds the asset? Is it the bank or the customer? Think I'm the bank and I'm leasing out a vehicle. Where is the vehicle kept? Within the bank premises or within the customer's premises? Yeah. Today you all have become so silent. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat box. When I'm leasing out a vehicle, who is really possessing the vehicle? Is it the customer? Yes. So the customer is having the vehicle. When I'm giving a loan against a property, property is with the customer. When I'm giving a loan against a house, customer is living in that house. When I'm giving a loan against gold articles, where I am keeping these articles with me, the bank, or with you, the customer. Where am I keeping the articles, the gold items, with you or with the bank? With the bank. So bank prefer this product because the custody is with the bank the moment you release the loan, the disbursement. Any other product, it's physically not available in the bank's premises. So when I'm giving a loan against gold articles, I own it and I possess and it's in my custody. So security wise, I'm very happy. So that's one reason why banks prefer gold. When I'm evaluating a customer to give a loan, the first thing I evaluate is not the asset but the customer. When I'm giving loan against gold, what I am evaluating is not the customer but the article gold. Suppose I am going to give you a leasing for a three-wheeler and the value is 500,000. I have to evaluate you, the customer. So I'm asking a lot of documents just to evaluate you. Are you employed? Do you have salary slips? Last 6 months statements? Guarantors? I'm asking a lot of documents. But when you are coming to me to take a loan against gold, I'm not evaluating you. I take the articles and put into some of the liquids or some other mechanism and check. whether the articles are real or fake. I'm not evaluating whether you are real or fake, but the articles. Okay. Now, what is the most difficult thing to evaluate? Customer or asset? What is most difficult to evaluate? Customer or asset? Customer. Customer. Right. So it's very easy to evaluate gold. So this is why you said you can get cash immediately. Yes. Why? Evaluating an article is very much easier than evaluating an individual. Okay. Right. When the customer is not paying back, the bank can possess, repossess, seize vehicles as per the Leasing Act. Okay. When I seize the vehicles, I had to keep them in a yard. Our vehicle yards, there are 5 vehicle yards, and one vehicle yard area extent is more than 5 acres. But still, there were times even that yard is not sufficient for us to keep these seized vehicles. I'm not referring everyone. When there are bad times, yes, that was the case. Okay. Storage space for gold articles. Do you need acres or just few cupboards? Storage space. Do you need acres or few cupboards for gold articles? Tell me your answer. Do you need cupboards or acres to keep, safes? Few safes, correct. The word is not cupboard, safe. Very good. Right. You need few safes. Right. Many other items, prices fluctuate unnecessarily, and the value we give away is something artificial. For an example, vehicles in Sri Lanka today, they are unnecessarily expensive. Okay. And when it comes to second hand, the price comes down substantially. Gold, can you easily dispose in the second hand market? Can you easily auction gold than vehicles and properties? Yes. Okay. Means what? Yes. Means what? The bank prefers pawning. Right? Now I gave you the reasons. Now let's look at the same from customer's perspective, from the customer's point of view. Okay. When you go to take any other loan facility, do you have to take a lot of documents? And when you go to take a pawning facility against gold, you need not to take that much of articles. Am I correct? Yes. The least amount of documents. Well, when I'm going to take any other loan, it takes a long time compared to gold. Other products, the processing time is measured by days, weeks, or months. Maybe a project loan will take months. For a housing loan, maybe weeks or months. For a leasing facility, days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. But for gold, what is the time duration? Is it measured in minutes or days or weeks and months? What is the time duration? Minutes, hours, days, weeks, months? Yeah.
It's minutes.
It's minutes. It's minutes. Yes. Gold, the article are measured and instantly you are given cash, and definitely it will not take even an hour. So time is less. Documents less, time is less, space is less. Right? Any other financial facility, when you fails to pay back, your name appears in CRIB. And whenever you default, your name will be appearing in CRIP as a bad customer, and that will be badly affecting you when you are trying to take another loan. Is it the same with gold loans, gold pawning? When you fail to pay, is your name transferred to CRIP? No. Okay. Right. So you need the processing time is measured in minutes, time saved, less documents, and yeah, you can easily obtain the facility. Means what? And your name is not transferred to CRIP. Means what? Customers also prefer pawning. Therefore, pawning has become a very popular financial product in Sri Lanka. Let's see a situation in 2011. You can see out of the loan portfolio, People's Bank in 2011, out of the entire loan portfolio, more than 1/3 belonged to gold. For Bank of Ceylon, that was 1/5. HNB almost 1/5. Sampath Bank, quarter. 1/4 belonged to gold. Pan Asia Bank, almost, NTB almost 1/5. Okay. Commercial Bank and DFCC, the exposure was extremely less. Now you see why these products, this pawning has become so popular among banks, because customers prefer it and the bank prefer it, and by now we know the reasons. Now my question is, what is the danger of having such a high exposure, highly exposed to gold pawning? For the bank, what is the disadvantage of having this much exposed to gold pawning? Okay. Both bank and customer prefer pawning. If so, pawning naturally is a very popular financial product. And I showed you in certain banks, out of the entire loan portfolio, 1/3 belong to gold pawning. What's wrong with that? Why it is bad? Why having such an exposure is
Less
bad?
documentation.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Less documentation.
Yeah, these are the reasons the pawning has become so popular. But when bank gives away pawning to this extent, it's bad to the bank. Why? Okay, let's look at the slides later on. We can come to this question. Right, so very naturally, gold has become a very popular financial product in Sri Lanka. Now we can see the gold price. So throughout history, gold price was moving up. Okay. So if you forget these bubbles, yes, its price is continuously going up. This one, by now you know what is happening. What do you call this? What do you call this? Mountain shaped price spike. What do you call it? You know that by now. Yeah, that's it. What do you call it? This mountain-like shape
Bull
appearing in price fluctuations. What do you call it?
bull market.
Yeah, it's a bull market. Then you immediately transfer to bear market. What is this? And this is happening here in 2011 as well. We use a nice word here. All burst. What is the blank? All. By now you must know this. All blank burst. What is that? formation. Just by looking at the formation, the chart must give you indication. This is what is happening. Okay, you can see the full picture here. You can see part of the picture here. There is a very rapid growth, a bull market. After that, what? A rapid what? Decline. Very good. You are given the word bubble. All bubbles burst. Right. So you need not to look at the rest of the picture. Just by looking at the formation, you can see a bubble is being created. Then you know the dictum, all bubbles burst. This is the problem. When you are exposing to such an extent in gold pawning, you will soon find you have given unnecessarily high value for a product which is not valued that much in the market. Very soon you will understand that. By that time, you are too late. That's why you have to be very careful with bubbles. If you forget the bubbles, yes, the gold demand is continuously going up and gold price is continuously going up. But be mindful of bubble creations. 2011, you need not to wait to see the next half. Just by looking at this part, you must be able to say, okay, a bubble is being created. Okay. What is below here is the natural growth. Yes, gold price must be continuously going up. But what is darkened here is the bubble. Okay. So this is the danger. This is why banks should not expose unnecessarily for any type of loan. If you expose unnecessarily for gold, when the bubble bursts, you are in a very bad shape. This is what I already showed you, this part. Going up, then quick drop and another growth, after that continuous decline. This part we call bear trap. Bear trap. It's a trap. Okay. Very soon you are making a double shape. Let's look at the previous slide. Yeah. In 1979, the same picture. History repeats itself. The same bear trap goes up, quick drop, once again goes up, then comes down. If you look at Colombo Stock Exchange, my dear, you must be able to predict the same now. Okay. Now, going up, coming down. 2011, if you are a very careful observer, you can predict, okay, the gold price is going to burst. We'll have a bear trap, a false bull, and the real drawback. After that, it will naturally find the price based on demand and supply and not on manipulation. This part is manipulation. I told you a story about the monkeys, how the price is escalated and dropped. The same can happen in gold market, stock market, any market. Okay, so you have to be very mindful of bubbles. Whenever bubbles create, you will find a lot of justifications. This time, it's going to be permanent. There is such a grown middle class in the world, such a demand for gold, and you believe this is how the chart must be. But unfortunately, history has shown again and again the same repetition, bubble creation and bubble burst. Right, 2020, what are we seeing? This part, what do you call it again? What do you call it? Another? But what is happening in the market again, in the gold market? Another bubble is being created. So you have to be very mindful of bubbles. At the same time, remember, you will always find justifiable reasons. In 2008, there was a financial crisis, and people lose faith in these financial products like stocks, and they prefer to move out for the traditional investment, that is gold. So the price escalates unnecessarily, come down. 2020, you find COVID, and you find stock markets crash, and you want a safe haven. You go for gold. Very soon, gold price goes up because of the demand created by investors, and that news gets into the speculators. They don't want to hold gold. They want to speculate, make a profit instantly by pushing the price further, further up, and just release it. Okay. Very good. Another bubble forms. That was the word I'm looking for. Very good. Right. Why do you want gold? Tell me what is the usage of gold? Why do people demand gold? Tell me reasons. Why do people demand gold? Why? Okay. Now you know that food to consume, vehicles to run, gold for what? Tell me, why do you want gold? Yeah. One reason is if you hold it, it's very liquid. You can easily convert into cash. Okay. Means what? You are demanding gold to invest. Is that the only reason? Girls, why do you want gold? Yeah, females, yeah, jewelry, very good. Right, now let's look at what are the usages of gold. Jewelry, investment, technology, and central banks. Jewelry, 43% of the demand is coming from jewelry. Investments, another good proportion is coming for investments. Technology, certain tech products maybe to make, now some people have golden teeth. Okay, when they have to remove the natural teeth, they go for gold teeth. And many technological products, small percentage. Central banks, they keep reserves in gold. For this purpose, they demand gold. But who supply? Now, any product, price of any product is based on demand and supply. Now, who supply gold? You can't produce gold. All what you can do is mine, dig into earth and find gold. So 63% is such. The rest is recycled. We always hear to advertisements and many announcements asking us to recycle polythene. Good. But the highest recycled item is gold. Right. Okay. Very good. Gold is attractive. It's for jewelry. Right. You all know that gold is very expensive. There were many other expensive items in the world. For an example, pearl. Now Sri Lanka is popular for gems, pearl, tusks. And when you listen to traditional stories, they say in Sinhala, Ran Ridi Muthu Manik. Okay, silver, pearl, gems. Right. Out of all these things, gold has been in demand, and its demand is still there. If you have seen a movie, a Hindi movie, Mohenjo-daro, at the very beginning, it says, I think 6,000 years before Lord Buddha. Maybe then that much of years before Jesus Christ. That much of years before. Right? And the story begins. So even that old story is purely based on gold. Even that era, the rulers knew the power of gold. Then we are living in 2021. When 2020, COVID created panic in stock market, crashing everything when people lost faith in even governments and was so much worried. The only safe haven for investment became gold. During Mohenjo-daro, the initial civilization, gold was so demanded. Even now, even in this so-called such developed world, when everything fails, people move into gold and the gold price escalated. But the other products which we mentioned earlier, Run, Riddhi, Muthu, Manik, other than Run, everything failed. Silver, then pearl, then gem, tusks, they are no more in that demand now. Okay. Pearl. Sri Lanka was very famous for pearl. But now, pearl is not such a demanded product. Why? Gold is in demand. The demand for gold is still the same. Throughout human history, the same demand was there for gold. But for pearl, the demand has dropped, declined. Why? Why there is such a demand for gold? Think and tell me a reason. Okay. So many items that were considered rare just because they were expensive, like pearl, lost that fame, but not gold. Can anyone tell me why pearl became less demanded compared to gold? Okay. Now, certain products are known as white gold or even black gold. Okay. Now, during Second World War, a word came, white gold. What is white gold?
Platinum.
Yeah, that's what we call today. But during Second World War era, a commodity became so popular and so much in demand, and people started to call it white gold because the color is white. And that was available in Sri Lanka as well. What is white gold? That product is no more demanded like earlier. What is this white colored product available in Sri Lanka? Okay, that is rubber. Okay. White gold is another name for rubber those days. Then you have another product known as black gold. That's not available in Sri Lanka. You have to import it. There's even a movie by the name Black Gold. What is black gold? When white gold is rubber, what is black gold?
Crude oil.
Crude oil. Very good. Crude oil is black gold. Now, both white gold and black gold are not demanded to that extent. Why? Now you can't say any more gold to them. You have seen the status of rubber plantation in Sri Lanka. Not even attended. It's no more gold. And the demand for crude oil sometimes dropped even to minus figures, especially during COVID era. It's no more gold, right? You have seen what happened to the crude oil price during COVID, the initial stage of COVID. What happened? That was sold at negative values, but not for gold. Okay. Now, why this white gold and black gold is no more in demand, but still gold is in demand? Why? Okay. Now, if you say black gold for crude oil, do you have alternatives for it now? Say yes or no. Crude oil, what is the usage? To run vehicles. Can you run vehicles without these fossil fuels now? Say yes or no.
No. Yes.
Yes, you can. You have Nissan Leaf car, where you don't have any place to insert oil, the crude oil, the what you call petrol or diesel. No, it's purely electric car. Okay, the world is changing. Hyundai has produced an electronic bus. Okay, so world is changing. Rubber, you have synthetic rubber, artificial rubber. You need not entirely to depend on natural rubber anymore. So white gold and black gold has lost its place, which it enjoyed earlier. But for gold, do you have any other alternative? Rubber, you can artificially create synthetic rubber. Gold, can you artificially create gold? Pearl, initially it was something natural, but very soon the Japanese started pearl farming. Okay, you take this little oyster in farms, insert the sand, and after some time you get pearl. So it became somewhat natural, but you can farm it, but not gold. You can't farm gold. You can't scientifically innovate and manufacture gold. But rubber you can. Gems, there are enough fake gems. But gold, you cannot artificially create gold. Right? Have you heard a term called alchemist? Do you know who is alchemist anyway? Have you heard the term alchemist? Say yes or no. Alchemist. Okay. So alchemist is a person those days who did experiments to find two things, at least two things, two valuable things in this world. Number one, he want to find out a formula where you can convert everything into gold. So I take this bottle, dip into a liquid, and after some time what I am taking out is a golden bottle, and I can be extremely rich. So alchemists were finding a formula to make gold, to convert everything into gold. At the same time, there was another aim for this alchemist, to find a liquid, an acid that will dissolve anything on earth. So you take this bottle, put into a liquid, and the bottle will dissolve. Right? So the alchemists were experimenting. They are mixing different items and keeping records of that. They finally could not achieve their objective. But the science what they did became known as chemistry. Right? Today, we call alchemists for bankers, because you create gold. Right? When someone comes to your bank to take a loan, you can make him rich. Means what? You, the bankers, can make gold out of people. So you are alchemists. And there is a book known as Alchemist. It's about a US central banker, Federal Reserve chairman, before Ben Bernanke. His life story was written as Alchemist. Okay. Right. Now, just tell me what's wrong with the two thinking pattern of these alchemists. If they can convert everything into gold, very soon the price of gold will come down. It's no more in demand. What is in demand is something very rare. Sorry. The other, if you find anything that can dissolve anything, where are you going to keep it? What is the container? You can't keep it in a container because the container itself will be dissolved. Okay, forget it. Now we can understand one thing. Gold cannot be artificially manufactured. The only sources are mining, dig it from earth, or recycle. Reshape the existing form of your gold jewelry, and you can create something new. Because of this less supply, price is high. Price is continuously going up the more you demand it. If you know the exact amount of gold in the world, so this it is said, the entire amount of gold you find, right, from the known history, whatever you have accumulated, plus whatever available in the entire world, if you can put it into the form of a cube, this is the size of the cube. Okay, from tons 166, and the one side of this cube would be 19.5 meters. Okay, so nearly 68, so 20.7 meters, nearly 68 feet each side. That's the entire gold available in the world. Means what? Gold is such a rare product. This is why it is considered as a very good investment. Since you cannot artificially manufacture it, the demand will always be there. Since the supply is extremely less, then price will continuously go up. So this is why investors prefer gold. But this is what Warren Buffett has to say on gold. Just listen to him. Warren Buffett never invested in gold because for him, investing in gold is a crazy thing. It has no utility. Invest in property, you can cultivate. Invest in real estate, you can rent it out. Invest in vehicles, you can hire it out. Invest in stocks, you can get dividend as well as capital gains. But what is the purpose of having gold? It has no utility. So Warren Buffett never invested in gold. Right, I showed you the bubble just before the bubble burst. This was the bank situation. Okay, so by now, the banks are extremely careful to maintain 5% or less out of their loan portfolio into gold. In certain countries, you have gold ATMs. In Abu Dhabi, you will find this. What you disperse is not cash or coins, but gold articles. Okay. Right. Now you know why gold is so expensive, because it's rare. Extremely rare product. In addition to that, still we don't have any technology to artificially create gold. And throughout human history, as someone of you said, attractive, it has attracted man or woman. And it has become an instrument to show your power. Right? So people started to accumulate gold. Countries started to accumulate gold. So it's an alternative form of investing. Certain investors do not invest in gold, but the majority does. Okay, now owning has become so popular. Every financial product should be regulated. In Sri Lanka, pawning is regulated by Pawn Brokers Ordinance. So I think by now you know what is ordinance. ordinance mean any legal enactment that was passed before Sri Lanka obtained independence, before independence. Okay. Right, so we obtained independence in 1948. So naturally, since this is an ordinance, means what? This legal enactment must have been passed before 1948. Let's look at Pawnbrokers Ordinance number 13 of 1942. Okay. So remember that legal site of pawning. It has become so popular even before obtaining independence. Gold pawning or pawning ordinance was created to regularize the pawning business. After that, it was amended many times. Pawnbrokers Ordinance. Later on, I'll give you this as a reading material. For the time being, we'll look at these slides. Who can conduct or carry out pawnbrokers business in Sri Lanka? So this is tested in past papers as well. If you want to carry out the business of pawnbrokering, you have to be a citizen of Sri Lanka. Who is not a citizen of Sri Lanka cannot do pawning business. A foreign company or a foreign firm cannot do pawning business in Sri Lanka. Okay, for exam purpose, just remember the parties who cannot do pawning are: number one, an individual who is not a citizen of Sri Lanka, a foreign company, a foreign firm. So three parties cannot do pawning business in Sri Lanka. The holder of license issued under Section 3 shall not transfer the business to which license relates to any other person without prior approval in writing of the government agent. Okay, so those days when this act was created, you had a person called Disapati, government agent. He is giving approval for pawning. Right? Remember this, Pawning Act is so old. Those days, very powerful government officer of a region, of a territory, is known as Disapati or GA, government agent. And you have read books like Village in the Jungle, Leonardo Wolf. Okay? So they were government agents in Sri Lanka. Government agent was the individual who gave the license to pawnbroker. Today you call him divisional secretary. So remember, for exam purpose, who is giving license to pawning? DS, divisional secretary. And transfer such business without such prior approval. So if divisional secretariat is not approving, you can't even transfer the business. The license is given by divisional secretariat. So today you call him not government agent, but divisional secretariat. The districts of Sri Lanka are divided. Okay, so today you call them divisional secretariat. Those days you call them AGA divisions. Okay. No person shall be entitled to a license for carrying on the business of a pawnbroker unless he produce the government agent satisfactory evidence of good character. So this individual, government agent, divisional secretariat, should give a character certificate. Okay, this person is having a good character to run pawning business. Character matters a lot in finance business. I think I talked about this when we were discussing credit evaluation. CAMPA, the first C stand for character. The first thing is character before money or anything else. Money cannot buy it. So this is what J.P. Morgan said. I think we discussed this matter when we were discussing character under Campari of credit evaluation. Divisional Secretariat must be satisfied with the character of a person before giving him the license to do pawn brokering business. And he can refuse the license at any time during 5 years immediately preceding the date on which he makes his application for such license. He has been found guilty of any punishable offenses, then the license can be refused. In the opinion of government agent, the shop or place in which that person intends to carry on the business of pawnbroker or any of adjacent house or place possessed by him is frequented by thieves or persons bad character, or is used for the sale of intoxicating liquor, opium, right. So this is appearing in our pawning ordinance 1943, number 13. Okay. Now those days, during this British era, colonial era, opium was popular. So if the pawnbroker is having such a business, he is not given the license. Okay? So when you think about character, the people who are into drug business cannot be given pawnbroker's license. Okay, in your free time, if you have something called free time, this is another very nice movie to watch, The Opium War. Okay, but I'll just tell you the story behind it. The British, they captured a good amount of countries in the world, but they were afraid to invade and control China. China is a huge country with the biggest population even then. So the British Empire was not interested in fighting a war against China. However, they negotiated with the Chinese king and started to do trading in 4 harbors. So the British were interested in trading. But after trading for 1 year, they found their trade account is in deficit. China is always enjoying the trading. Chinese were self-sufficient. They had enough products manufactured, produced, cultivated in their country, and the British had less supply. Further, British soon found a Chinese product has become so popular among British community and they were addicted to it. The product is tea. So the Chinese tea has become so popular drink among British and they were almost addicted to it. Due to this, China is always taking advantage over Britain in trading. Now the British were looking at 2 options. Number 1, to cultivate, grow tree in their colonies. So they tested in Assam of India and the hill country, up country in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka became a successful tea cultivator. So Ceylon tea became a household name in the world. At the same time, this is one way. Find an alternative place to grow tea among your colonies, and the British did it. And they wanted to make Chinese get addicted to something which is produced in their British colonies. They found something called opium produced in India, and the users get addicted to it. So they soon made Chinese addicted to it. It is said about 20 million Chinese were addicted to opium. And the Chinese government, the king was very much worried, and there was a war. So that is Opium War. In the movie, you can see how cruel the British emperors were. But remember that though the British were selling opium to China, they were not promoting opium or any other drugs within their country. Okay? So you can see how that is discussed in this move. But even in this, they understand a person who is dealing with these items as a business is not having a character worth to run pawnbroker's business. No license for carrying business on the pawnbroker shall be issued to any person who is an auctioneer. Okay. Auctioning is a separate business. Running a pawning business is a separate business. No individual can do both. No license for carrying on the business of a pawnbroker shall be issued to any person unless he furnishes security in cash as prescribed. No pawnbroker shall take any article on pawn before 8 a.m. or after 8 a.m. on any day. No pawnbroker shall act as or carry on the business of an auctioneer. Okay, so these are the reasons to cancel your license. Okay. Now, what are the activities of a pawnbroker? Every pawnbroker shall always keep exhibited in large characters over the outer door of his shop or place of business his name with the word pawnbroker in Sinhala, Tamil and English. So this is the act. Always keep exhibited in conspicuous part of his shop or place of business so as to be clearly visible to and legible to by every person resorting there to a notice containing Sinhala, Tamil and English. Right. So everything is listed in this ordinance. No article shall be deemed to be taken in pawn unless and until the pawner has signed the counterfeit of the pawn ticket. The pawnbroker has signed the foil of the pawn ticket and has given the foil to the pawner. And the pawner, means the customer, has received and accepted the foil of the pawn ticket from the pawnbroker. Okay. So this act describes the business activity. A customer comes to you, hand over the gold articles, you give him a receipt, okay, which you call here the foil, and sign it, then only the transaction takes place. Every pledge, now that is the gold article, shall be redeemable within a period of 12 months from the day of pawning, exclusive of that day. Means what? When you think about any other loan, there is a predetermined duration. Housing loan, 10 years. Leasing, 5 years. Okay. And I have to pay monthly installments. Here, no such installment plan. I can settle the loan taken within a period of 1 year. The only exclusion is I cannot take the money today and settle the money today. Other than that particular day, you can redeem on any other day. Any person claiming to be the owner of a pledge but not holding the foil of the pawn ticket, or any person claiming to be entitled to hold the foil of the pawn ticket but alleging that foil of such ticket has been lost, stolen, misled, destroyed, or fraudulently obtained from him, may deliver to the pawnbroker a declaration in the form. Okay, so everything is written down. If you have lost your foil, then what is the process? You have to go to a JP and there's a form and sign it. Where the foil of a pawn ticket is surrendered to the pawnbroker for the purpose of redeeming a pledge, the pawnbroker shall retain in his possession the foil and counterfoil of that pawn ticket for a period of 12 months. Right. Even after redemption, still you have to keep these documents for another year. Okay. So you can see the pawnbroker's ordinance has laid down the activities. For exam purpose, you should know who is the authorized person to issue license for pawn business. And you are misled, especially in MCQ. For an example, the examiner can ask, what is the agency to authorize the license for pawnbroker? Number one, so the answers, okay. Number one, jewelry, state jewelry department. Number two, central bank. Number three, gem and jewelry authority. Number four, government agent or divisional secretariat. Okay. So you must have the ready-made answer. The license is issued by divisional secretariat. Then liability of a pawnbroker in case of fire. People trust and they need this article. That's why they keep the article with you and take money. This is the only article, this is the only item, only security that the bank will keep. Therefore, bank is responsible for keeping it in safe custody. Where a pledge is destroyed or damaged by or in consequence of fire, the pawnbroker shall nevertheless be liable on demand within the period of redemption to pay the value of the pledge after deducting the amount of loan and interest and business turnover tax, if any, payable in respect to such loan. Every pawnbroker shall have his business insured to the full extent, yes. Every pledge which is not redeemed within the period of redemption may be disposed by sale, by auction, but shall not be disposed of otherwise. And the regulation, yes, how we are disposing. Where a pledge, that means the gold article, is to be sold by public auction under the preceding provisions of this section, the pawnbroker with whom such pledge has been pawned shall give at least 14 days notice, 2 weeks notice to the government agent. Okay, you know that. Notice of sale. The pawnbroker shall give to every pawner whose pledge is to be sold under ordinance at least 14 days notice, and must say where the auction is being held. At any time within 2 years from the date on which a pledge is sold under this ordinance, the holder of the pawn ticket may inspect the entry of sale in the pawnbroker's book in the filled up catalog of the auction. Okay. Then what are the offenses that can be done by the pawner? Offers to pawnbroker an article by way of pawn, but refuses or is unable to give satisfactory account of the means by which become possessed of it. Willfully gives false information to a pawnbroker. Now this is pawning, the pawner, his offenses. The pawner offers an article to the pawnbroker, but he cannot give satisfactory means how I got hold of this article. Why refuse? Right? Means what? Theoretically, we believe that the robbers who get hold of gold will not come to pawning. So this is what we expect. So the pawner must be able to give valid reasons. This is how I purchased this gold article. He will never refuse, no, I'm not going to tell you how I earned this gold article. He is not supposed to give false information. Right? So his address, name, everything must be correct. Attempts or endeavors to redeem pledge, not being a person entitled to redeem such a pledge. Okay. The person who is having the foil is the person who is entitled to redeem. No other person can redeem someone else's jewelry. Without lawfully excused pawns with the pawnbroker, anything being the property of another person. Makes a declaration under this ordinance either for himself or as identified another, knowing such declaration to be false in material particular. Right. Contravenes any provision of this ordinance or fail to do anything which is required by this ordinance shall be guilty of an offense. Now these are the offenses that can be done by the person who is handing over the gold articles. Okay, please read this. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Okay. Oh. Okay, offenses by pawn blockers. Now the pawners can make offenses on blockers. If they do these activities, that's a punishable offense. Takes an article in pawn from any person appearing to be under the age of 16 or to be intoxicated. Okay. Takes an article in pawn without giving the pawner the foil of the pawn ticket. Whenever you are accepting gold articles, you must give him a ticket, which you call foil. Purchase or takes in pawn or exchange the foil of a pawn ticket issued by another pawnbroker. That you can't do. The only way is auction. You cannot exchange foil with another pawnbroker. Employs any servant apparently under the age of 21. That's a punishable offense. Purchase except at a sale by auction under the ordinance. Okay, if you want to purchase, the only way of purchasing from another pawnbroker is by participating in public auction. Suffers any pledge while in pawn with him to be redeemed with a view to his purchasing it. Agrees with any person pawning or offering to pawn any article to purchase, sell or dispose such article within the period of redemption. Sells or otherwise dispose of any pledge except authorized by this ordinance. So the ordinance says you have to go for auction, and that auction should be informed to government agent or divisional secretary. If you make any false entry in the books, then that's punishable offense. Seizes or detains any person under the provision. Okay. Now, if a person has given you fake articles or whatever the cause, you can't arrest him. You are not the police. You can't arrest and detain any person. You don't have any legal liability to do that. Fails to have his business insured. Yes, that's offense. So your license can be cancelled. Contravenes any provision. Right. So that's on owning business. Okay. Right. Now, we have seen a lot of pawning places in Sri Lanka in individual level as well as commercial banks, finance companies. So many people are into pawning, and we have seen to what extent pawning is popular in Sri Lanka. Right? And now you know the reasons of this product becoming so popular. Right. Now we talked about the advantages of pawning. And since it seems to be agreeable for both parties, it has become so popular. Both parties see advantages of pawning. Right? But I'll tell you some practical stories of gold pawning. These days, we see gold price has gone up, and some people, okay, they pawn the articles with one finance company, and they find it difficult to pay back. Right? So I'm talking sense, practical things. Whatever you call, there are certain set of people who lost their traditional income method these days. It can be school van drivers. It can be the girls who have been working in nightclubs. It can be the bartenders, dancers, the people who are working in casinos. It can be tourist guides. Right? These people who were earning a good income used to purchase gold. And now, when they don't have any other means, they pawn these articles and convert them into cash, believing they can redeem these articles. If I'm not, okay, I think you have seen how people flocked around pawning centers at the very beginning of COVID. Right, in March, all of a sudden, the entire country was closed down. And after maybe after 1 week, 1 or 2 days were opened. Few hours were opened for general public to go and do shopping. The first place, like since the bars were closed down, the first place people flocked around was pawning centers. Other than the monthly wage earners, the class of income earners from the areas which I mentioned above, they flocked around pawning centers and pawned the articles and took away money. That was very easy. Next, they find still they don't have a good income source to redeem the articles, and the gold price is continuously going up. After receiving several reminders, what they do, let's say they have pawned at LB, they find it's difficult to pay back. They negotiate with another company, another pawnbroker, and redeem through the broker. And now they have to pay for the second one. Let's say XYZ pawnbrokers. Now, after receiving few reminders from XYZ pawnbrokers, still they don't have any income source to pay. But gold price has still gone up. So what they do is they talk to PQR pawnbrokers and redeem from XYZ. And they get cash to their hand. And now the bundle of gold goes to PQR. That is happening. It's like musical chairs at the moment. Right? So people don't have, a certain group of people still don't have that continuous source of income. Since tourism has come down, a lot of areas were affected. So they have moved up to pawning. Okay. So when you are in pawning business, you can see the prices going up and you can be happy. At the same time, be mindful. You are sitting on a volcano just about to be erupted. And the customers, all of a sudden we find, okay, the bundles of gold moving from ABC to XYZ to PQR, and it's circling around. So the people don't have a mechanism to redeem it. The only way of redeeming is bundle it and repawn with another. That's happening at the moment. Okay. Right. Now, let's compare certain products. Then we'll listen to some other stories before we move into another heading. Okay. We talked about venture capital and we said venture capital is not a popular product in Sri Lanka. Now we are talking about pawning, and we say pawning is a very popular financial product in Sri Lanka. Just by comparing venture capital and pawning business in Sri Lanka and the demand for each, tell me what is really beneficial for a country, venture capital or pawn brokering? Whatever you answer, justify it. First tell me, for the development of the economy, what is most important, venture capital or pawn brokering? Venture capital. Okay. Now my second question, why? If you say venture capital, why? Very good. I have got another answer. Pawn broker is important for the development of the nation. Very good. Now, for those who tell me, or those who told me, venture capital is the important, tell me why do you say it? For those who believe that pawn brokering is important for the development of the nation, tell me why it is. Take your time, then we'll discuss. Those who say venture capital is important, tell me why. Those who say pawn brokering is important for the development of the country, tell me why.
So can you tell me the question again, since I was
Okay, right. So I'm asking you, what is important for the development of a country? venture capital or pawnbroking? What is most important? Now you know the two products. Compare and tell me. Hello.
Yeah, venture capital.
Yeah. Why do you say it? Why do you say venture capital is important?
Because new inventions comes to
Okay.
the nation.
Right. Right. Good. Pawnbroking. Is it consumption loan? Yes or no? Pawnbroking. Why do people take loans? Yes. Pawnbroking is for consumption. Right? Okay, tell me the instances where people go and pawn their articles to fulfill what requirement do people go and pawn their articles?
The needs of money.
Yeah. Okay, suppose you have a very huge project to do, like shipbuilding. Will you pawn your articles or go for a project report? If you have a
No.
huge dream, like shipbuilding in Sri Lanka, how do you start it? By writing a project report or by pawning articles?
By writing a project report.
By project reports. Okay. Now in Sri Lanka, what is most popular method? Pawning. Pawning is very popular. Means what? We take loans just for day-to-day consumptions, not development-oriented projects. Am I correct? The majority. Yeah. So consumption loans will ensure that we consume whatever produced in the country. Right? So people will just spend them. When it comes to venture capital, you are looking at the investment aspect of it. You are generating more jobs and maybe foreign exchange by starting up new ventures. But when it comes to pawnbroking, you are just trying to make a living on day-to-day basis, and whatever you miss, especially when you have to organize a party or to do simple activities like to buy fertilizer for farming, you go for pawning. And the vicious cycle continues. Okay. Pawning, is the interest rate higher than some other loans? Pawning, is the interest rate higher? Yes, right. Because it's a consumption loan. Okay. Now, right, I told you I'm going to tell you some other stories as well. Have you heard a family called Medici of Italy? A Medici family. Have you heard that family? Say yes or no. Medici. You can just tell me, type me yes or no. Have you heard a family called Medici of Florence of Italy? That's the place they lived. Okay. Right. Let me tell you that story. There was a person, an average person, not a noble birth, but a commoner living in Italy, and his surname was Medici. And anyway, have you heard these nice names? Galileo Galilei, then Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci. Have you heard these names? Yes. Good. Now I'll ask you another simple question. Those days, paintings were not sold. Okay? Leonardo da Vinci never sold his art to make a living. Right? Michelangelo, most of the time, they painted in religious institutions. They did not earn by selling arts. Think about Galileo Galilei. Throughout his lifetime, he took a set of binoculars and just looked at the stars at night. That was his entire life. He has not produced anything worthwhile to sell and live, and he was not a farmer. Now, how do you think that these scientists and artists made their life? How did they earn something to live? They were sponsored by Medicis. Means what? There was a very rich, filthy rich family known as Medicis. They sponsored scientists and artists. The full-time job of these scientists is just to look around, observe things, make theories, and think about artists. They took ample of time, rested enough time, and slowly finished their paintings, murals, because they were looked after by this rich family. Okay. Now Medici, the first father, the known first person, was a commoner, not of a noble birth, and he was a pawnbroker. He was a pawnbroker, right? So in today's context, he's almost like a banker. So he pawned articles. Right. Let's talk sense. The people who snatch gold chains, what do they do with that in Sri Lanka? Again and again, we have seen some youths coming in bikes and just snatch away a necklace, a gold necklace from a girl. What do they do with these robbed articles? Tell me, what do they do? In real, tell me, what is happening? Are they shout and say, I have a chain to sell, or they just go to a pawnbroker and pawn it? They pawn. That is the reality. They pawn. Right. Okay. In Italy, the same. Medici was a pawnbroker. He found a very good source of providing him articles to pawn. That was sea pirates. Right. So we have time and slowly discuss. When you say sea pirates, what comes to your mind? An extremely intelligent, well-educated, learned person, or a thief who has never gone to school? What comes to your mind? A, well-educated person. B, a person who has never gone to school. A or B? A thief. A thief. Right. B. Very good. When I listen to, not when I watch movies, whenever I watch movies, I see all the sea pirates like what you said. Okay. In addition to that, they have blackened teeth. Okay. They were suffering from something called scurvy those days. Let's forget it. But in two stories which I have read, I have found two intelligent, brilliant, well-educated sea pirates. When I listen to the story of Julius Caesar, there is a sea pirate who later became the tutor to the daughter of Julius Caesar. Yes. Then Medici, father, he found a sea pirate who was continuously supplying him articles to be pawned, and he is extremely educated, doctorate holder, who could speak several languages, knew mathematics and science well. And the Medici father showed him a path, easy path, than engaging in this sea pirate business. With his power and connection, he made him a cardinal in a church. And after a few months, the Pope died, and out of the cardinal's vote, a Pope is selected. With the power of money, this sea pirate became the Pope. And the Medicis soon had the connection to all relevant places in Italy, Rome, rest of the Europe. And they started having branches, the pawning business elsewhere, everywhere in Europe. And they became the richest family in Italy. You just Google this family and see how many good characters they have created. Right. So that's purely because of pawning business. They became so rich. Means what? If you do pawning, you can be rich, and it's almost like banking with the license of divisional secretariat. This Medici family, I think their family dynasty is about 400, 500 years. Within these 400, 500 years, they have helped a lot for science, for arts, as well as for religion. Most of the constructions in Italy were done during their era, and they were the main sponsors of these activities. The Cathedral of Florence is extremely popular, and that was constructed by this Medici family. Okay, so what I want to point out, pawning is a very popular and a very profitable business, whether that was in Europe those days during the Renaissance or in modern times today in Sri Lanka or any other country. Pawning is a very profitable business. This is why banks were extremely interested in pawning. But pawning is a risky business because of the bubbles being created from time to time. Right. Then some drawbacks of pawning is faked articles. If you are a pawner, you must be able to read what is fake easily. There are certain people who have a knack, who have a personal expertise, some kind of a tacit knowledge, just by touching an article, say it's fake. And when you really inspect it, yes, it is. But others use some scientific method. At the same time, you have to be very mindful of the business. When bubbles are being created, what is happening. At the same time, in Sri Lanka, most of the articles are redeemed because the genuine people have a sentiment value over the market value of these articles. Okay. My father gave me this chain on this particular event, maybe my birthday, etc., etc. My husband gave me, that was my wedding ring. So people have a lot of sentiment values over these articles than the monetary value. So it has become an article where people want to redeem. At the same time, there are a set of willingly defaulters who do fake articles. So you have to be very mindful of that. Okay. Now, when it comes to our traditional farming in Sri Lanka, the farmers, especially in Polonnaru and Anuradhapura area, they pawn, get loan to do fertilizing, and when the harvest comes, they buy electronic gadgets, and when the bad time comes, they sell everything, pawn it, and redeem it, and the cycle continues. They are in a vicious cycle. They don't have any other financial knowledge. So one important thing is improving financial literacy. I'm not saying pawning is a bad product. If you look at Medicis, just in your fun time, see what Medicis have done. They have become extremely rich just because of pawning. And think about many individuals who are into pawning business in Sri Lanka. Right? So pawning has become a product easy to conduct, easy to operate. You need not to have so much sophisticated knowledge on credit evaluation, just evaluate the article and give the loan. In real, you are not even looking at how did you earn this article. You are not worried about it. Just giving a loan against a security which falls into your custody. So it's very simple operation. Okay, now we will move into another area today, that is payment systems. Okay, right. Since I have some more time, I can tell you another good story. That's a Thailand movie. That's based on a real story. Seaweed Billionaire. Those days that was freely available in YouTube, and I doubt whether it's available now. Seaweed Billionaire. That's a story about a real Thailand young person who became a billionaire just by selling snacks out of seaweed. Okay. This movie, it says this young person had he has no initial capital to start up the business. Very first scene of this movie is this young person going to the bank and asking a loan, and he argues with the banker. Finally, is rejected. The only good item he finds is a Buddha statue. In Thailand, you can pawn it easily. And he pawn it, get the money, and start the business. Finally, he becomes a billionaire. Right? Even though we say pawning is just a consumption loan, there are instances where people started business just by pawning articles. There's a story, even a very good printing house in Sri Lanka started, the first owner started it by pawning articles. Right, we'll move into next one, payment systems. You know that. Why do we need money? Transaction motive, precautionary, speculative. This is why we hold cash. Right. Transaction motive. What do you mean by that? You hold money because you want to do transactions. Is it true? You hold money, cash, currency notes to do transactions. Yes. But when you have credit cards, you don't want to hold that much of currency. Okay. Then precautionary. If something happens to me, I want money kept for a rainy day. But again, thanks to credit cards, now we are not that much worried. Speculative motive. Can someone tell me what is speculative motive? People hold money for speculative motive. What is speculative? Yeah, speculative. Transaction motive, very simple. You want to do day-to-day transactions. Precautionary, very simple. When you find rainy days, that means suppose you don't have income, you have lost your job, still you need money. Speculative, yes. Profit making, investment, profit making, right? Now, if I come to know that the dollar will go up, okay, rupee will depreciate to such an extent, you can get 20% return for holding dollars for 1 month. I will hold dollars. My whole purpose of keeping money, keeping dollars, is to make profit. Okay? So that is speculative motive. Right. It is said before we invented something called this currency note, we were bartering, and bartering was insufficient. Therefore, we went for the commodity money. Commodity money means a money that can be used for two purposes. One is for transaction, the other for some other purpose. Okay. Commodity money is a mean of payment made of precious metals such as gold, silver, or other valuable commodities. So this commodity itself has a value other than a medium of exchange. It has been prevailing medium of exchange in most societies since classical times up to around 200 years ago. Yes. Right. So these coin itself has a value. There was a time 5 rupee coin all of a sudden disappeared because that coin is valuable more than 5 rupees. Those days we had copper coins. I don't know whether you have seen square shaped 5 cents copper coin. Later on, copper price became so expensive, 5 cents is worth more than 5 cents. Right? The face value is printed, engraved 5, but it's more valuable than 5. That is commodity money. Means what? Face value is something that's the medium of exchange. In addition to that, the product itself has a value. So it can be used as a commodity plus medium of exchange. Right. Why coins have ridges? Now, if you find some old coins, you will find ridges like this. Now, it is said those days when a goldsmith handles a coin, he will easily peel off the edge. So when about 10, 20 coins come to him, he will slowly eat the edges and make a coin, mint a coin himself. To prevent that, the treasury or the kings started to make ridges around coins, so you cannot easily counterfeit it. And if you peel the edge, you can see it. Just by running your nail around the coin, you can see whether someone has eaten part of the coin. Later on, fiat money took the place of commodity money. Fiat money, initially it is said, if you have $1, means what? The treasurer says, if you have $1, we will pay you this much silver when you take this dollar note to the treasury. Okay. So you had something called silver standard. But later on, that word is removed. Here there was a sentence, if you take this coin to the treasurer, you can convert it into this much of silver. That is removed later on. So today you have purely fiat money, no commodity backing. Right? So if you see the evolution, you did bartering, you went to coins, commodity money, coin itself has a value plus a printed value. Then you came to fiat money, where there was a statement. If you take this piece of paper, still you will get the commodity. But that sentence is removed. It's purely based on faith now. The fiat money means it's a legal decree. Fiat money, money that the government guarantees as a legal tender. What is legal tender? Take any currency note in Sri Lanka, and you will find in mid of this currency note, Sri Lanka තුළ ඕනෑම මුදල් ගනුදෙනුවක් කිරීම සඳහා නීතියෙන් වළංගුය. That is the legal tender. There's a statement written in Sinhala. Okay, this currency note can be used to do transaction of any value in Sri Lanka, and that is legally accepted. Nitiyan Walanguye. That is the fiat note. That is the legal tender. Fiat money derives its value from government regulation or law. So there must be definitely that statement. Nithiyan Valanguya. It has no intrinsic worth. What is printed on is worthless. Okay, you are printing on a piece of paper and you are putting 5,000. Right? So 5,000 is just a printed value. The paper is not worth 5,000. But here, commodity money, the money is made of a commodity and the commodity has a value of its own. Okay. Now, legal tender. Legal tender. Sri Lanka තුළ ඕනෑම ගණනක් මුදලින් ගෙවීමට නීතියෙන් වළංගුයි. Something like that is printed on your currency note. Means what? Okay. I have taken a loan from you and the value of this loan is 5 million. After 1 year, I approach you to pay this 5 million and I'm carrying a huge bundle of 20 rupee currency notes. Okay. So you have to have a cash counting machine to count it. Can you say, sorry, I will not accept 20 rupees. Please bring me 5,000 rupee notes. Then only I will accept and consider that you have paid my 5 million loan. Can you say like that? Say yes or no. No. Why? Why? You can't say like that. That's what you are saying. Why? Because of the legal tender. Because of this legal tender. What is that? ඕනෑම මුදලක් ගෙවීම සඳහා නීතියෙන් වළංගුය. So 20 rupee currency note itself says I can be considered to pay any amount, maybe billions, but still I can pay in 20 rupee or 10 rupee notes. Okay. Right. So it is said Samsung mobile phone copied everything from Apple. Right. The Samsung mobile phone company copied everything from Apple. Apple went to courts. And unknown to Samsung, Apple has got patent right for everything in this phone. They just are not even. They are round-shaped edges. For that, you have patent. If you swipe to this side, there is a patent. If you swipe to this side, you have patent. Okay? You don't have buttons, there is a patent. Apple has taken patent for everything. Samsung lost the court case and Samsung had to pay a huge amount in billions. One day Apple found trucks loaded with currency notes entering into their premises. They had to accept it. So Samsung paid in simple notes and coins instead of just sending them a check. So that's a story. Fiat money has a legal tender. You cannot say no for paying a loan by currency notes. If that is said, it's like you have accepted, I'm writing off your loan. Okay. Now we are moving into payment system. Right? A payment system is any system used to settle financial transactions through the transfer of monetary value. This includes the institutions, instruments, people, rules, procedures, standards, and technologies that make its exchange possible. Okay. Remember, it must be very easy to do transactions. Then only you can do more transactions. Okay. So the world was not developed in payment systems like today in 1950s. In 1970s, the Walt Disney started Disney Park. And for each item, you have to pay in coins. Suppose you are getting into a roller coaster, you have to pay in coins. You're getting into the seesaw, you have to pay coins. Everything is paid in coins. And from the very first day, a large number of children and their parents started to visit Disney Park. So they carry buckets of coins measured in pounds and ran to banks. Right? So that was the payment mechanism. Means what? You have to spend a lot of time counting your earnings than considering and allocating more time to earn. Okay? You must allocate a considerable time to measure your earnings than giving more time to earn. So when the payment system improve, you can concentrate mostly on earnings than this simple mechanism. Think about salaries. Those days salaries are paid by putting currency notes and coins into envelopes, and the employee comes to the employer or the HR manager, sign in front of him and count what is inside the envelope, sign and get out of the premises. Today, no one is getting that kind of envelopes. All what we receive is a SMS alert. That's all. Okay. Now, just imagine you have 2,000 employees working in a firm, right? So there must be a separate person or few employees just to count and insert into envelopes. Today, just hand over the document to the bank and immediately entire salary will be deposited in your personal accounts within no time. So those days, payment mechanism was really inefficient. Today, it has become so efficient. Within nanoseconds, you do transactions. In Sri Lanka, the accepted modes of payments: number one, cash; number two, non-cash. That's all. Very simple. You have only two payment mechanisms. One is cash, the other is non-cash, like our life and non-life in insurance. When it comes to non-cash, once again, you have two types: document-based, check, money orders, bills, promissory notes. So these are piece of paper. You trust the piece of paper, the signatures, everything. The other is just a SMS alert, electronic payments, direct credit or debit, credit cards, debit cards, prepaid cards, etc. Just electronic payments. Okay. Now, the tourists those days, they have to carry cash. Then travelers checks. Today you don't carry any of these things. Still, when you get into a hotel, still you find there are safes in certain hotels. Yes, you have safety lockers inside your cupboards. Today you don't want anything, just a credit card, a plastic card, and very soon there will be cardless. Okay, at the moment you have a card, very soon you will find even the card is not required. So the service providers of payment systems, LCBs, LSBs, and LFCs. An operator who provides cellular mobile phone. Yeah, by now, even mobile phone companies have identified as partners for payment systems. Mcash, eCash is becoming popular. A company registered under the Companies Act number 7 of 2007 and having an unimpaired capital of at least 150 millions or amount determined by CBSL. Right? So these are the partners of payment systems. Payments and settlement systems. Various systems for making online and offline payments and settlements, such as checks, RTGS, SWIFT, slips, and cards. Efficient payment and free hassle of use of cash and reduce transaction cost and improve the efficiency. Speed. Okay. So there are a lot of online payment gateway options. Payment cards. So you have a piece of plastic. A payment card is a device that enables its owner to make a payment by electronic fund transfer. The most common types are credit and debit cards. Payment cards are usually plastic cards. This must be cards with an embossed card number. Most commonly, a payment card is electronically linked to an account or accounts belonging to the cardholder. Okay. Now, credit cards have become very popular in Sri Lanka. Why? Tell me some reasons. Why credit cards have become popular? Okay, I'll give a few minutes for you to practically think and write answer. I'll give you 5 minutes. What are the benefits of having a credit card? I'll give you 5 minutes. Send me your answers. What are the benefits of having a credit card? Then think practically and send me your answers. What are the benefits of having a credit card? Yeah. Right. So you have sent the reasons why. Okay. Can pay later. Yes. So you can pay later. That's one. No need to carry cash. Yes. Safer than carrying money, easy to use. Okay, good. Without having cash, easy, right? Fraudulent notes will not come into transactions. Okay, good. Online transactions do not have to wait in long queues. Yes, 24, right? Very good. So these are the benefits. Okay. Right. Now, there was a statement by a quotable quote by Warren Buffett. If you want to be rich and if you have a credit card, first step, take a scissor, cut the credit card into pieces, put it into a dustbin. Okay. Means what? A lot of people who don't have financial discipline will find credit card as a trap. Later on, Robert Kiyosaki said how to become rich while having a credit card. I do believe credit card is not obstacle to achieve your targets. It's more of a convenient method. Today, when you go to shopping malls or maybe to shop in a cloth seller, you find a queue, cash queue, very less crowd, and credit card queue, long queues. But you feel sorry for the people who pay by cash on certain days. You get 20-25% discount for credit card payments and cash payer, no discount at all. Okay. So credit card has become convenient for everyone, to the seller, to the customer, and it has become very popular. You have cited good reasons. Okay. So this is how the card system continues. These accounts may be deposit accounts or loan or credit accounts, and the card is a means of authenticating the card holder. Yes. However, stored value cards are cards that store money on the card itself. They are stored cards where a value, your deposited amount, is stored within the card. You call it e-wallet. Offers customers more security, convenience, flexibility, and control than any other payment method. They enable online payments and save administrative costs. Yes. Now, before credit cards, when set of employees want to buy electronic items, especially the young ladies who are working in garments, they were interested in buying certain electronic items. They went to C2 system. In a rotation, everyone is contributing and everyone is buying an electronic item. Right? Then there were higher purchasing systems. Each transaction, if you have one credit card, you can buy enough items and you can rotate yourself. Okay, you come buy one item, complete paying, then you move into another item. You need not to again and again go to a bank and sign a separate agreement. In higher purchase, you pay 1/3 at the beginning. In credit card, you don't want to pay anything. Then you pay slowly. Okay. After completing, you want to buy another electronic item. Say you purchased a TV. Now after that, you want to buy a washing machine. You have to sign another high purchase agreement. But credit cards, very convenient. Okay. Right. So as you mentioned, you can do online payments and it saves administrative cost. Charge cards. Now, for exam purpose, remember you can be asked what is credit card, what are the benefits, what is a charge card. Charge card means payment card which involves a line of credit granted by the issuer to the cardholder, where the credit utilized by the cardholder must be settled fully on or before date specified by the issuer without any extended credit. So credit card you can revolve continuous. Here you have a specified settlement date. Before that you have to settle it. Credit card, a line of credit granted. You can fully settle or you need not to fully settle and continue paying. Electronic fund transfers, EFT, is transferring money from one bank account to another, either within a single financial institution or across multiple institutions via computer-based systems without direct intervention of bank staff or any paper money changing hands. One of the most widely used EFT program is direct deposit, in which payroll is deposited straight to an employee's bank account. So you can electronically transfer funds. EFT also include any electronic transfer of funds initiated through an electronic terminal, including credit cards, ATM points, ATM, POS, point of sales transactions. Benefits of electronic fund transfer improve safety, security. Okay, so whenever you asked the benefits, you can almost say the same words: safety, security, hassle-free, less administrative cost, increased efficiency, simplified. Whether for credit cards, debit cards, charge cards, electronic fund transfers, slips, RTGS, you can use the same set of benefits. Mobile cash. Today we are using the mobile phone to do transactions. Mobile cash is an innovative way to transfer money securely via mobile phone. The received money can be withdrawn from an ATM with or without ATM card, credited into an account, or used to top up debit card money. So that's Mcash. This unique service can be available even if you don't have a bank account. It enables you to perform a wide array of financial transactions using your mobile phone anytime, anywhere. Okay. Common ATM switch. Why do you want to have separate ATM machines for each bank? Why can't we share them? So that is one common ATM switch. So go through the slides. E-remittances. Okay, an interest-based instant money transfer. Okay, what are the examples? Then you have money changes. Okay, so banks can do forex changing as well as certain individuals. Scriptless security settlement system. Okay, you need not to have any piece of paper. You can go for scriptless security settlement system. then the benefits of it. Then the interbank payment system slips. You know that Sri Lanka interbank payment system, and today we get our salaries via slips transfers, very easy. Okay, you can go through these notes. RTGS, real-time gross settlement, where the bulk, when slips is for values less than 5 million, here comes the bulk settlements. Then you have remittance agents. Okay, today, across the borders transaction can be easily done through Western Union and MoneyGram. Then you have Society for Worldwide Internet Bank Financial Telecommunication, which is known as SWIFT codes. Okay. So I have given you these slides, go through them. Payment system is another popular exam area where examiner is interested. Later on, when we do past papers, we'll look into that aspect. With that, I'll end today's session. Next week, check whether I'll be available. If not, we'll do the class on some other day. But most of the time, I would conduct class in the same time next week as well. With that, I'll end today's session. Thank you.